everyone. Happy Sunday. You're listening to 90.3 WMSC Upper Montclair, and this is Weekend Wake Up. My name is Caitlin Arisisaval, and I'm joined by my wonderful co-host,
Leslie Gallagher.
Today is November 8th, and we've had a long week of election stress, but let's put that all aside for now. We have an entertaining and informative episode today, and to start things off, we have this day in history. So take it away, Leslie.
Of course, thank you, Caitlin. So on this day in history in 1895, German physicist Wilhelm Röntgen, hope I said that right, produces and detects electromagnetic radiation in a wavelength range today known as X-rays. So I found that so interesting. 1949, All the King's Men, based on Robert Penn Warren's Pulitzer-winning novel, premieres in New York. And in 2005, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is elected president of Liberia, the first woman to lead an African country. Some pretty cool stuff we got going on this day in history. We got science, we got movies, and we've got politics. We're very, well-rounded today.
Yeah, those are always the best combinations. I love when we have a little bit of everything.
Just a little bit of everything. I don't understand science, but I appreciate things
but
like
we know what X-rays are. Exactly.
Yeah, it's electromagnetic radiation, and I don't even understand it. But I'm glad someone else does, and someone else discovered it on this day in history. But anyways, we've got Kathy here today to tell us what's trending this week. So what's trending, Kathy?
Hi, everyone. I hope that everyone is doing well during this time today. This week on November 3rd was Election Day, a pretty big day for everyone, especially those who voted. I can relate to this statement because I was a first-time voter this year, along with my little sister who turned 18 earlier. Even though I did not get a sticker, I know that that was not like the big reason why I did vote. Obviously, I voted because my voice does matter, and I'm really happy to know that my vote did matter as well. But this being said, there's also been a change within the 2020 election candidates. Richie Torres and Mondaire Jones became the first openly gay Black men to be elected to Congress. And Sarah McBride, who was elected to the Delaware Senate, will become the first openly transgender state senator. There's a lot of change happening right now in the world, and this has been a year of many firsts. There are many minorities that are now in the position of power, but regardless, there's still a fight for social justice. How do you two feel about what I just stated right now?
I think that it's really awesome to see these minority groups or people from these minority groups rising to positions of power. That's really something that's so important, especially just for young kids to see and just to understand that that is possible. Like they can, if they want to be in politics or anything like that, it's not closed off for them. So I think in that aspect, it's really a wonderful thing to see. And I'm very excited to see all the change that's going to come in the future, because now that you have these people representing minority groups, their goal is, of course, they're going to try to make things better or different, at least in a good way. At least I feel that it's a positive change for sure.
Yeah, me too. It's definitely progressive change. And, how I always think about it is like the people who know minorities the best are the minorities themselves, and like them, they're going to make decisions that are progressive for them and their communities. And they are the best people to do it. So to see real progressive change, I think it's the best thing to have them in those positions. And I'm glad that people recognize that and voted them in. It makes me feel very proud. Feel like we're making like good progress, if that makes sense. That's just how I see it. But I love it.
Yes, I definitely do agree with both your statements as well. It is very inspiring. It definitely just inspires me to just go out there and do what I want with my life and just definitely chase those goals. So in celebrity news, Kendall Jenner is currently receiving backlash for celebrating her 25th birthday with a huge birthday bash in Los Angeles. Entertainment Tonight states that, quote, every person entering the venue, both employees and party guests, had to have a rapid COVID-19 test with a negative result on site before going upstairs to the party, unquote. I personally think that getting a rapid negative test within that moment is good. However, there are people out there who do not realize that they have COVID until a few days after. And so I just think that, again, it's good in that moment, but again, you never know who has COVID, so it's just a little bit tricky to get around that. And as well, with all the different attendees that were there at this party, there's so many social media posts about it with pictures and videos, clearly showing that a lot of the attendees were not following the social distancing guidelines. So I think that was just pretty ridiculous in my opinion to go and see, because again, a lot of people do want to go and defend Kendall Jenner, but some people are, again, not defending her at all, because again, they think that during this time that there should not be any events this big, any events this big. So do either of you have any thoughts on this event? Do you think that we should be holding celebrations more responsibly during this pandemic?
I don't think celebration should even be a thing. Like, I mean, like, no offense to Kendall Jenner, but it's like, I don't know, you're an adult, you don't need a birthday party. Like, I don't know, like, everyone turns a year older. So many people miss parties and celebrations this year. It's like, I understand they're doing like the bare minimum to be safe with doing like a rapid COVID-19 test, but I've heard that the quicker you can get the results for your COVID-19 test, probably the more inaccurate it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just don't have the party at all. Like, I don't understand the point. I don't know, maybe just like buy a cake for yourself and eat it by yourself. Like, that's what I would do. You know, my birthday was over the summer, and I love birthdays. I think they're really fun and stuff, but I didn't invite anyone over. I just like, I don't know. It was just like another day, I guess. Like, I acknowledged that it was my birthday. I don't know, but I didn't like feel a need to throw a party. I don't know. I feel like celebrities just think they're going to be exempt from those things because they are celebrities. That's just my hot take on it. I think it's very stupid, quite frankly, and quite unnecessary.
Yeah, it's definitely like you hear stuff like that and you're just like, that's a nice way to highlight somebody's privilege, because there are a lot of people who cannot do that. Like, they
call them
can't.
out, Caitlin. Call them out.
No, I mean, I appreciate the fact that she like did the COVID testing, but like you said, it doesn't mean the results are super accurate, because I don't know how I would even feel to take a COVID test and get the results back immediately, just because it's such a new thing that the world is dealing with. Like, I know when you get a flu test, or a strep test, I think strep test, that you get the results in like a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But that's also just something that's been in the works for years. Like, that's not new. And this is just also new to be so comfortable with it. I just don't understand how people can be so comfortable. But like you said, even my birthday was in May. So like the prime of the pandemic was like March and then like April. So I was like, my birthday was right in the middle of all that. And I didn't do anything particularly special. We ordered food from a restaurant and picked it up and ate it at home. But I literally just remember the night before my birthday, I was watching 10 Things I Hate About You. And then on my birthday, I was eating in my room watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, you know.
Sorry. I love that show.
Like you said, though, it's like acknowledging it's your birthday, but it's also kind of like a normal day, because what were we going to do? And it's just crazy, because at this point, I think a lot of people are just like, well, this is the world we're living in now, so like, let's just go back to the way our lives were, but with masks. And it's like, no, it's never going to end if we just go back to our lives. Like,
what people keep saying is the pandemic isn't over just because you're over it. And I love that phrase.
I love that phrase. The pandemic isn't over because you're over it. I mean, it's frustrating. It really is.
For sure.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. My birthday was in September. And so, yeah, I mean, I had a very, very small like celebration just with my immediate family. In that moment, I think I was just really happy to have my birthday cake be ice cream cake, because that's my favorite cake. So I think that's all I really wanted. And again, just to be surrounded by just my loved ones. But I didn't see any friends or anything, because again, we have to be very careful. Like you never know who can have it. So again, yes, I do agree with both your statements. Just because we just because we are over this pandemic doesn't mean that it is over. And again, when this pandemic does end, or whatever case may be, our life will have to be changed to a new normal. So
for sure.
So along with celebrity news, in the Cosmopolitan article, Dixie D'Amelio responds to Ariana Grande criticizing TikTokers for partying during the pandemic. Ariana Grande called out people, that includes influencers and TikTok stars, for partying at Los Angeles' Saddle Ranch. In an interview with Zach Sang on the Zach Sang Show, She used aggressive language and questioned why people couldn't stay home. She believes going out to take pictures for social media is not worth it. And according to Cosmopolitan, TikTok star Dixie D'Amelio told Pop Galore how Grande is right about what is going on.
I find that so ironic because it seems like the D'Amelios, is that how you say it? Them and a bunch of other people seem to be partying, and now that, you know, big star Ariana Grande is calling them out, now she's like, oh yeah, you're right. Like, I find
Yeah,
that very convenient.
I don't get that. Like, it's so like, yeah, I mean, I know we shouldn't be doing it, but like it's just so, huh? Like, I don't get it.
They're
It
so
doesn't make
relaxed
sense
about
to
it.
me.
It's concerning. Like,
Did you, did you, I saw this on Instagram. Did you see that Miley Cyrus unfollowed a bunch of other celebrities that were
yes.
partying? That
Wow.
made me laugh.
I saw a quote tweet with that, like, oh, so we're not partying in the USA. Like, I thought that was so funny. I don't know who tweeted that, but I saw that. That was the funniest thing ever.
I love Miley.
Go ahead,
Amazing.
Miley. Go off. I love that.
Exactly.
We stan her.
Exactly.
Along with these influencers partying, as stated with Kendall Jenner and everything, a lot of us want to go back to living our lives normally, but this is not the way to do it, clearly. So yeah, that's all I have for this week. And I hope that everyone is taking care of themselves during this time.
Some real crazy stuff you're bringing today, Kathy. Real crazy. We started off good, you know, with like the new people coming into office, and then it just went downhill. But thank you regardless. Very entertaining as always. And we'll see you next week.
See you. Bye.
Oh my goodness.
I am shook. I know that's such an old phrase, but like for real, like how long have we been in this pandemic? Like 9 months? I don't know. A long time. And people still don't get it. In fact, people are like ungetting it, where they were staying home before and now they're just like don't care as much.
Exactly. It's so frustrating to see because even on Halloween, there were a lot of celebrities partying on Halloween, and I saw it after the fact, just going through, and I was like, oh, okay. It makes me upset because there's so many people who can't. Like, it's nice that Kylie, I don't know, I don't follow, whichever one had the rapid COVID test. Like, it's nice that they were able to do that, but normal people can't like just have access to that for their parties. Like, oh, we'll just make sure everybody gets tested. Like, most people can't just do that.
No. So. And I wouldn't want to like go and get all dressed up for a party and then like take my little COVID nose test, and then like they're like, oh yeah, you actually can't come in. I'd be like, well dang, I just got all ready and everything. Like, that sucks. Like, I would just not even go. Just
completely
stay home.
Exactly. Completely. Like, also another thing, like, you know, when you go into a place and they check your temperature, it always freaks me out because I'm like, what if it's a high? And I'm just like, okay, so they're just gonna be like, you have to go, and I'm like, okay, like, I get it, but it's such a scary, like.
That is really funny that you say that, because there was one time over the summer where I was taking my boyfriend to a doctor's appointment, and the appointment's at like 1 p.m. They called us in at 1:40, and it was like one of the hottest days of the summer. We had to wait in the car, so we were like getting really hot. We turned his car off because we didn't want it to be running for 40 minutes because they took a long time to call us in. And then when we got into the waiting room and they said we could be there, they were like, oh, your temperature's too high. And I'm like, maybe it's because we were waiting outside for an hour because it's really hot. Like, they're like, just wait here until you cool down. And I was like, okay.
Cool down.
They were just like, wait in the waiting room until you cool down so we can make sure you don't have a fever. I'm like, I don't have a fever. I'm not sick. I was just waiting in a hot car for an hour. Like,
yeah, exactly. It's so stressful. And every time they put the thermometer, I get so stressed for like the 5 seconds it takes to take my temperature. And I'm like, oh my God, do I have a fever? What if I have a fever? But, you know, anyway.
It's me at work because I work at a supermarket. They always have to take my temperature, and I'm like, one day, what if it's just not a good temperature? Like, what happens? I don't know. They just send me home? I don't know. But then what if I affected people? I think too much.
But anyway, here's Kenny with some entertainment updates. Kenny, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm excited to be here. So, first story today. Production has been halted for 2 weeks on Don't Worry Darling, which is a movie that's just coming out that is starring Harry Styles and Florence Pugh. It's directed by Olivia Wilde, and the interesting thing about this movie to me is that it has Harry Styles in it. And like I'm not a modern music type of guy. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but I listen to all the old stuff. I'm an old man.
It's come up frequently that you like the Beatles. That's pretty like, even though they're classic, they are a little old timey, I guess.
Yeah, but just everything along those lines. I'm an old guy.
You're
But he's one of the few people that I can listen to. That's from modern Harry Styles. I actually like his music. And that when I read this story, the movie's about, this psychological thriller, isolated utopian community that's set in the 1950s desert. This is a real movie, it has a lot of big names on it. It's not just something small. And it makes me think about how celebrities, when they reach, some form of success, Harry Styles done it with music, they can just transfer. And whenever I see that happen, I always get really curious because I'm always wondering, do they actually have talent in that area? Or is it just like they're just a big name,
Yeah.
Movie business. It's a business for a reason, So what do you two think about that?
That's funny that you think about it like that because it is, movies are business. So having like a big name like Harry Styles will bring in like a bunch of different fans, like how you mentioned Dunkirk, like, a lot of Harry Styles fans are, like teenage girls or like young women typically. And like, I don't know, it's bringing maybe a new audience to Dunkirk. Like I don't picture like a tween girl going to watch a movie about war. So that is definitely like, it is like a business type thing. But at the same time, would they have people in those roles if they couldn't do them well? I don't know. But I think it's cool when they try out something new because,
Yeah.
I don't know, I think it's fun. They're making the most out of their career. They have these opportunities and they're taking them. If he wanted to try acting, maybe that's what he really wanted to do. And now he's doing it. I don't know, I think it's cool. But I do see what you mean with the business thing.
I agree with you.
It's funny you bring up like the 13-year-old, like the tween girl thing, because like my sister's 13 and she loves Harry Styles.
Yeah, see, that's what I picture when I think of
I'll
like.
just go like knock on her door and say, "Hey, how do you feel about this?" No,
No, but Harry Styles is an icon. I love Harry
him.
Styles. He's a good actor too. I feel like I'm kind of biased, but I think he's a good actor because he's been on SNL too. And I think he's a pretty good actor. Like he does all the different sketches. He like embodies characters. And I'm like, good for you.
as much as it may not seem that I'm agreeing with you guys, I actually do. I think it's really cool how, and this has happened a lot in the past, the biggest one, I mean, it's obvious, is The Rock, big wrestler guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Top earning star in Hollywood. And it's just very amazing how it can open up other avenues of success to other people.
For sure. Yeah. What I find the most interesting is when I think of like Harry Styles and his personality and his music, I think of very like colorful and bubbly and light and like good vibes. And then like this, you're saying is like a psychological thriller. I'm very excited to see how he performs in that setting based on what I've known about him previously. And I'm honestly excited to see like his own acting abilities be like challenged in like a thriller. Yeah. I don't know. He seems like really interesting based on like all of his like hits are very like bubbly and fun. Definitely like a new side of him, Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. He took over for Shia LaBeouf on the movie, and like I've never seen a movie with him, but like I just know like off of his name, he's a wild actor. Like he's in movies that are he's in movies that you really gotta change your mind.
Definitely, yeah.
And see just this guy from One Direction.
He's more than that.
Now he's so much more.
He is more than that. He is more than that.
Now it is. Yeah, he's like made like a name for himself, like he's become this individual set apart from One Direction. When I think about him, I don't even think about One Direction anymore.
Yeah.
I think about like one of my favorite songs from him. And like that's just like what pops into my brain.
But that's why it's like interesting because it changes the perception. Like even what you said about The Rock, like when especially like the newer generation, when people hear The Rock, they don't know like what he did before. Like people know him as an actor, like from movies. Like I forgot that he was like, what did he do, wrestling or like I forgot.
WWE.
Yeah. But yeah, that's
Like,
just crazy how like it just completely switches. Like he really went into that world. He's done a bunch of movies.
he's like the top. I think he's the top earning star,
Wow.
and he started, beating people's heads with chairs. It's
Interesting.
This
astounding.
is so interesting. I feel like the most interesting people have like career changes like that. Like I kind of want to do that in my life. Just start out doing one thing and then I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna do something else.
Yeah,
And,
like I'm
come back
bored.
to
Let me
it.
try this.
Like imagine being like that multi-talented though. Like that is
Yeah.
so cool. That I want that. That sounds fun.
The
I like
goal.
that. I see that a lot. So that was really interesting to me. Sounds like it was interesting to you too. I have this one that Caitlin, you'll probably be upset with. The head writer for Tonight Show, Rebecca Drysdale, she is leaving the show. The leaving is mutual, but the main reason she wants to leave is because she doesn't want to keep on writing jokes about Trump and just politics in general. And she says that specifically it's caused a lot of pain and divide, anxiety in the writers' rooms. Just many issues are showing up everywhere she works in it. And every single time I'm turning on late night or SNL, which Caitlin, I know you love, it seems every time that it's just politics. And it really gets rid of the quality for me. So what are your guys' particular thoughts on this?
Wait, why do you think it gets rid of the quality for you?
It's just the same thing every time.
Okay.
Maybe like the same topic gets old. Maybe that's why. Like hearing Trump jokes
that's what it
over and
feels
over.
like,
again.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, I feel, first of all, the fact that she's the head writer is crazy because she probably like, if she's the head writer, she holds a lot of people together. So I feel like that must be a lot of pressure for herself, especially if people are feeling divided.
Mhm.
It's a very interesting situation. I mean, for me, I've always find the skits, I think they're funny, like on SNL, and even I could see how like on the Tonight Show it could be kind of tiring because they do like the monologues and stuff. But on SNL, since they kind of like act it out and stuff, I feel like it's a lot more interesting. But yeah, I guess I could see how it gets boring. But at the same time, like they're making fun of the world we live in, and that's kind of what our world seems like consumed with at the moment. Do you think that the shows like the Tonight Show and SNL should be more of a distraction because politics is kind of what is consuming our world at the moment?
No, definitely not. No.
Okay.
I'm a huge comedy person, and big thing is I think you can make a joke about anything. You just have to find the right way to do it.
Mhm.
Some things are much more sensitive than others, but there's always a right way to do it. And if it's going on right now, it's accurate, and that's how I feel about the jokes. But there's also other stuff going on than just Trump signed this order, Trump did this tweet. Know what I mean? And
True, there is other stuff going on in the world.
it's funny, but it gets stale. And to me, that's the last thing as a viewer I would want to see on a show that's been running for over 40 years, 45 now.
Yeah, and one thing to add is like she says there's a lot of pain and anxiety in the writers' room. Like that like sounds like almost like a toxic work environment, and it's because they have to write about like these sort of like political topics and such. And like I don't know, it's just would you want to go to work every day and like have to like face that kind of anxiety of having to work with people and write about things you don't want to write about? Like I kind of understand where she's coming from. At some point you have to put yourself before the audience and recognize that you're important, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I never even thought of that. Like, I don't know the writer's own political beliefs. Because I'm sure there's got to be at least one person who just does not agree with everything.
Yeah, definitely. That's also interesting because I feel like does that mean they're kind of losing the comedy aspect of it? Like the topics are just so serious that they can't make a joke out of it? I don't know. Like how does it turn into something so negative when the goal was to be lighthearted?
I don't think that's really possible to make something just unfunny. It's impossible to make this unfunny. It's just you got to find the right way to do it. And if you're drawing from the same material, that's okay, but it's done in a similar way every time, to me at least, where it's just they're doing the same joke, just different formula. And any show that you watch, that's a problem. Many shows. This is why I hate romantic comedies. They are all the same formula.
I mean,
Every
if
single
think
one.
about it, though,
They're all the same thing. except for
Every
two of them.
movie
When
has
Harry
a
Met
flaw.
Sally and Sleepers in Seattle. Those are the
Yes,
only
your
two.
favorites.
No, they're my favorites, but they're the only two that I like. And that is
That's
because
funny.
they're all the same exact thing. And it's similar to this, where it's getting to be the same thing. Like you change the channel and it's pretty much the same thing. You're going from Jimmy Fallon to Jimmy Kimmel.
Mm-hmm. It's
Sure.
funny that you say that because sitcoms, like I learned in one of my television classes, sitcoms have a very like um chosen like structure and formula that they follow to keep it funny. And you don't really know the formula's there until you like really like look for it and analyze it. But maybe they're just overusing their formula and they need to change it up. I don't know.
But that
There's
formula
always a
has
formula
equaled
there.
success for so long. It's been successful.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe like people just don't find Trump jokes as funny because all of, like the political stuff has gotten so much more serious over the past few months and people are like just tired and they just want justice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't know if those are the same type of people who watch SNL. Like, I don't really know. But I
Definitely.
don't
It's
know. That
probably
could be
exhausting. I mean, I can see
yeah, and
that being
also to
exhausting.
maybe exhausting in the way that like we're constantly reminded that we have like this president that many don't approve of, like that might be like really like exhausting for some people, especially like minorities that he literally discriminates against. So
But definitely. I mean, we'll see what happens when they get a new head writer. I'm kind of curious to see what direction the show goes in. I mean, the Tonight
Yeah.
Show.
And they got a new showrunner too.
Really?
Yeah, and that's the big one. Like that's the one that I want when I'm all grown up.
All grown up. No, I think showrunners are so cool because they literally run the show.
that was funny.
Now,
Can you give a movie review for us this week?
I was just about to guess that. My favorite time. This week, last night actually, I watched Over the Moon. It's an animated Netflix original and it's released October 23rd. As a side note, I found this out 30 minutes before the show. It was actually premiered in Montclair for the first time. Yeah, in the Montclair Film Festival on the 17th. Who knew? Yeah, big deal. That's pretty cool to me. But the movie's about Fei Fei. She grew up on her mom's stories where her mom would tell her about Chang'e. Chang'e is this moon goddess, and she's up there because she is away from her boyfriend on accident, her boyfriend Hio. And she's waiting for years and years and years to get back with him. And it's all about waiting to keep that one true love. Sadly, this movie follows a very Up sequence, similar to like the movie Up with the balloons, all that, where it gets very sad in the beginning. Just a couple minutes in, the mom, she goes through a sickness. They don't say what it is, but you just see her declining, and before you know it, she's gone. And this girl is heartbroken, as you would expect her to be. Her dad, equally heartbroken. 4 years later, her dad meets this new woman, and it changes everything for this girl because she realizes that she's going to have to change her past, forget, which she feels like she's going to have to forget her mother. And this girl, she does not want to confront the problem so badly that she will build a rocket to the moon to avoid it. So successfully, somehow, she builds a rocket to the moon. And her goal is to take a picture of Chang'e to prove to her father that Chang'e exists and say, Mom was right all along. It's always about waiting for your true love. She gets up there and she makes all her way over, barely, because her, I would say brother, but person who would become her brother, Jin, sneaks along on the trip and she wasn't expecting it. And because of that, she almost doesn't even make it. Barely makes it to the lunar city. I don't remember exactly what it's called. Chang'e.
Lunaria, I think.
You did your research.
I watched the first half of the movie. I didn't finish it yet.
Okay. But she makes it to an area. And Chang'e is this exact opposite of what she expected. She was told, this peaceful, graceful, just goddess. And she's just like a moody pop star, pretty much. The exact opposite of what you would expect. And it becomes very clear that's because she's just like Fei Fei. She is pushing away the problem. And it's tough for her to accept, she has lost her true love. And the entire movie, you see Fei Fei trying to go on a journey, and Chang'e of accepting their traumas, which is something very relatable to anybody. Everybody has a trauma, There's big T trauma and little T trauma. Everybody has little T trauma. And this movie is about confronting that. It's about finding how to get past what has hurt you before. And if you're so resistant that you will build a rocket to the moon, that takes persistence. That is the epitome of I'm not going to deal with this. This girl, the entire movie, it's her journey about being able to accept and grow from her acceptance. Only time, can reveal the gate. And it's been enough time that she's finally realized at the end, when she's hit her rock bottom, there's no other options at rock bottom. There aren't even options. There's just a path, a single path that you have to go down. And she realizes that that's what she has to do. She has to accept her hurt, the past, because truly, the woman that her dad met, wonderful woman, but she is holding on to the past as much as that past she wishes was there and is great. It's gone. And the movie goes through her whole journey of just learning how to grow as a person. And I felt that is something that can relate to anybody. I thought the movie was really good. As a little side note, I will say it does have some musical elements. I'm not a huge musical guy, so that lost some for me. But I give Over the Moon a 7 out of 10. If you're interested in watching, it's available on Netflix.
See, that's funny that you say that about the musical parts, because I thought the music was really good. I thought the lyrics and everything, like, they were genuinely catchy songs in the movie.
Oh, they were. I'm just not a musical guy.
Yeah. If you don't like musicals, it kind of like falls flat for you, regardless of how good it is. I really like the music. Yeah, I only saw the first half. I didn't have time to finish it before today's show. But yeah, it's pretty awesome. I mean, the animation is so colorful. It's so, I don't know. Kids' movies aren't known for like their realism. So when she was literally like, I'm gonna go to the moon, I like thought that would be like the epic failure of her character, but it's so unrealistic. She literally goes to the moon, like in her own rocket ship. And then
get it.
Goddess of the Moon. And I was just like, this is really cool. But I was so confused. But maybe that's just me not enhancing the magic enough, because
it's a kid's movie, Leslie.
I would just know, like, I was just really confused because at some point it's like really like colorful and she's like in space and she doesn't even she's like in space and she's just like breathing like the space air, and like that you can't actually survive as a human in space without like a helmet or like something. So I was just like, oh my god, is she gonna like what's gonna happen? But then
they did address that briefly.
What'd you say?
They did address that very briefly.
Oh, it did at some point. Oh my god.
Yeah, it didn't even say anything. It was just like a little action.
Oh, okay. I was just like really confused. And then there were like talking moon pies, and I was like, whoa. That was like, what was in the moon pies in her dad's shop that she's seeing all this? I was really confused.
See, okay, but that's the beauty of like animated and like children's movies, because you kind of have that mix of like not really real, but the lessons in it, like you said, that there were lessons of growth and acceptance, and that's a beautiful thing, especially to teach young kids. But even as an adult, like watching that, and you can kind of recognize the beauty of it.
It's like, whoa.
Exactly. Like, wait, okay, first of all, your whole review, I was literally so emotional. I was like, oh my god, this sounds like such a good movie. Like, I wanted to cry for a minute because I was like, wait, that's beautiful. Like I really, and Leslie was watching it and she's texting me and she's like, this is like a Pixar movie. Like they get you attached to the characters and they break your heart. And I was like, okay, I have to watch. It was really
Literally cried in the first 7 minutes.
Like
I'm an easy
similar to
crier though, but like it was really sad. Those first 7 minutes were really sad.
Oh, I want to watch. I want to cry.
One thing I really do like about this movie is that they are, exploring an entirely different culture. Like it doesn't take place in America as far as I know, and they're celebrating holidays. I don't remember which Asian country it is, but it is an Asian country.
They didn't really say what.
Yeah, they
country
didn't really say. It was kind of like I wasn't sure if it was like confirmed, but it definitely like takes place in Asia. So it's like it explores like a different culture that like I don't know, like we don't really see a lot in media. So I honestly really appreciated that element of it.
Definitely. I looked up the cast too, and there's a lot of famous actors. Well, Sandra Oh is in it, and I love Sandra Oh. Sandra Oh's from Grey's Anatomy, but also Killing Eve. Like she's done a lot of different things. But just seeing actual like Asian actors play certain characters is just amazing to see more minorities coming up in the industry because it's definitely something that's really important. I mean, I love seeing representation in media, so.
For sure, it's always super exciting. Well, thank you, Kenny, for coming on and sharing that today. And we'll see you next week for another movie review and some other news. And yeah,
All right. See you guys later. Thanks for having me on the show.
bye. See you next time. I don't know why
Are
I
you
said
gonna finish the movie this weekend? You have to.
Yeah, I'm going to finish it pretty much right after we end this because like now I'm just curious. I need to know what happens at the end.
Yeah, I really want to watch it.
It's really good. It's really good. It really gets you in the feels and you're just going to be like, oh. And then you're going to be, oh my God. And it's just, there's a lot happening. And then it's like, I like how complex the characters are. Like it's very, like the character dynamics are very interesting.
That's always my favorite thing to see, like when characters are kind of multi-level, because that's what humans are like. Like nobody's just one simple.
Like the best word I can describe for Feifei, the main character, is confused. And that's because she's like a young girl going through all like this really hard stuff. And like it's just very interesting to see her character develop. And I'm only through the first half, but it's I think she's a good character because in a way I can kind of relate to her because like I have divorced parents and like not the same situation as her because her mom passed away. That's completely different. But I remember feeling that like weird devastation when like seeing your parents like see other people. Like it's a very like indescribable feeling. And like, I don't know, I found myself kind of relating to her. And I was like, you know what? I know exactly what that feels like. And I was around her age that time that happened to me. So I was just like, yeah, this kind of, it's relatable. It makes sense to me. So yeah, I liked it a lot. And I'm going to finish it today. I promise. I'll text you, Caitlin, and see if I cry at the end, as well as the beginning. But anyways, we've got health and wellness with Issa. Issa, where are you at? Elevator music. Hi.
Hey guys, I'm right here. How's everyone doing? I hope everyone's doing very well on this wonderful day.
Yes.
Oh yeah, it's a beautiful day out today too.
It is. It's very nice, and I must say the weather definitely has plays a big role in how we feel and how our bodies function. It's very strange. It's even interesting to note that just due to pressure changes, our body functions completely differently. So something interesting right there.
You are always full of fun facts that like my brain like does not like comprehend. Like I get it, but I'm also just like I'm gonna forget this like 2 minutes from now.
It's probably like what you're interested in. Like the more what you're interested in, the more you research about it, and I feel like it comes to me naturally now. Like I keep hearing from everyone like such little fun facts. Like recently I found out that when we sleep, we don't sleep actually the full 8 hours. We have little increments where we sleep for an hour and 30 minutes, and then our body kind of wakes up, and then we fall asleep again. So that's something I just found out today.
That's so interesting.
It is. There's so many interesting things about the health and wellness spectrum itself. But today I would like to focus on one in particular, and that is the superfoods of the fall and how to utilize the nutrients of one superfood in particular that many people don't know about that is a superfood, pumpkin, especially now after Halloween.
Interesting, because when I think pumpkins, I'm like, oh, pumpkin spice lattes with tons of caffeine and sugar.
Oh yeah,
Oh, this is
PSL.
interesting
I
already.
must say, like now is such a big time for pumpkin spice, and it's really like pumpkin spice and everything nice, as I like to say. Yeah. What I like about, well, I'm not sure if you guys know, but pumpkin spice itself doesn't mean necessarily pumpkin, but the spices they use for pumpkin pie, which includes like a combination of cinnamon, nutmeg, and ginger. But anyway, what I would like to focus on today, well, first I have a slight question that I would like to open up a discussion about. What comes to mind when you hear the words fall superfoods?
Vegetables?
I like not even superfoods, but just fall. I'm like pumpkin. That's fall. That's
Really?
it.
I don't know, like
That's
my
a vegetable. Pumpkin's a vegetable.
thought was like squash, but then I was like, wait, no, that's like more like a summer vegetable. So like honestly, I don't know.
Really? Pumpkin's a
Well, there are
vegetable.
many, and I'll discuss more as we like throughout my segment. But first, I'll focus on pumpkin itself because a lot of people don't know. Like when we think of pumpkins, we think of like, oh, carving pumpkins or like harvest and squash and all this different like all these different harvest I would say elements to it. But when it comes to like jack-o'-lanterns, what a lot of people think, like once they have them out and then they like want to just throw them out. Of course, throw them out if they go bad. But usually you don't have to throw them out. You could actually roast the pumpkin guts themselves or cook them down and they turn into a pumpkin puree. And you could use that for so many things. Now, why should we use it? Number one, it's very nutritious. Like I'm sorry, it's very nutritious. It's packed with loads of vitamins, including vitamin A and vitamin C. They're great for boosting immunity. And especially now, I know the flu season is coming up. There's a bunch of like iffiness with the COVID cases, and boosting your immunity by adding pumpkin, and I'll explain more ways how to do that, is something really, really good that we could utilize, especially now. It's high in antioxidants. Now, what does it mean to be high in antioxidants? Basically, that it helps your body prevent chronic disease or chronic illness that you come to like develop. Like I know that when I was younger, I would often develop pink eye or common colds, especially during this time. So antioxidants combat this chronic illness. It's rich in iron too, and a lot of people don't know that. And this is really important, especially when it comes to people who are anemic. Now, I'm not sure do you guys know, but apparently it's said that over 70% of the American population is actually anemic without knowing it.
Yeah, I think a lot of times like anemia forms because if you're kind of like malnutritious, I think. I could be wrong. So I know a lot of people who have it actually. I don't, but it's been pretty common in my own like life. Like I've seen a lot of people with it. It's interesting.
Compared to the past, it is said that our like the younger generations coming in are consuming foods with much less iron or much less nutrients that allow us to function properly or have enough energy. And many people have like their different stages of anemia, and many people, especially when they don't sleep enough or are constantly stressed, aka college students, they suffer from this lack of energy and lack of like enthusiasm. Well, not just enthusiasm emotionally speaking, but generally like this extra energy they need to do the daily things in life. And it's a little sad to think, but you could combat that with eating more pumpkin.
That's great. I didn't know pumpkin was rich in iron like that either. That's really interesting.
It's rich in many minerals and, like I said, antioxidants. And what's really good is that it's very nutritious, but it's also low in calories. So if someone is looking to like stay in shape or paying attention to how much they consume, pumpkin is a great way to go to get a lot of nutrients and for very little. Like for very little calories, you're actually utilizing all that potential. So on to my favorite part: how do we actually consume and eat pumpkin and actually enjoy these benefits? Oh, bless you, Leslie.
Thank you. I had my mic muted. I was trying to like
It's
highlight
okay.
it. But thank you, Issa.
But anyway, the easiest thing you could do is once you open up the pumpkin, and I had a very fun time doing it this last weekend. And basically, what you do, you want to cut the insides out, like except for the skin. You want to cut all the flesh out, and you could cook it down, and then you could just puree it, and it turns into like a little mousse that you could add to many different things. You could add it to soups to make them more creamy. You could add it to sauces. You could make a curry out of it. You could add it to, it's basically has the consistency of like a squash. So you could use all that, like, so when it cooks down and you have that puree, it's almost like applesauce, but it's not sweet. But you could indeed add some sugar to it, some honey, some nuts, and it kind of could be a good substitute for applesauce, even in recipes or in any specific baking creations or any cooking dishes that you're making. Uh, you could also make a smoothie, which is really easy, a PSL smoothie with actual pumpkin. If you have some yogurt or milk, you could mix that with some ice and some pumpkin. A little bit, like I would recommend a fourth to a half a cup of pumpkin puree. Some sweetener, like sugar if you use it, honey, maple syrup, and then you could add some cinnamon or some like of the pumpkin spice and blend that up. And that's a good way to consume pumpkin, and it's really healthy. Other than eating it yourself, you could also make a face mask, which I didn't know about, but apparently it's really, really, really good for the skin. And you mix that with either egg white, honey, or you could also mix it. I heard with some people took flaxseed and water and mixed it with that, so it just creates like a paste. And then when you put it on your face, and it just takes like 10 minutes, and then when you take it off, it's supposed to leave your skin nice and glowing and refreshed, which is something that I actually have tried recently, and it's really nice. Like compared to many other homemade masks that I made, or even tried store-bought masks, this one in particular, like, was really good. Like I really felt like my skin wasn't dry, was very well balanced. Um, and especially now, like it's so dry and cold outside, it's a really, really good suggestion to try that out. And last but not least, if you have pets, give pumpkin to your like a cat or dog. It's really, really healthy for them as well, and it does help them combat any chronic illness. It keeps them energetic and actually improves their mood, because a lot of people don't know, but animals often suffer from anxiety or depression just like humans. So if you do give them pumpkin, it makes sure that their mood is stable and they're happy and energetic.
I had no idea it affected their mood. I've given my cats pumpkin to help like prevent like hairballs and stuff, but I didn't know it like made them like happier or less stressed. That's wow. I love that. That's so
That's
cute.
so wholesome. I want to give my cat pumpkin now.
My
I
cats
can't believe how like
they love
I
it.
can't,
We flop some on a
really?
plate and yeah, they love it.
Like they just eat it?
Yeah, like the puree stuff. Like they just love it.
I can't imagine my cat. I'm gonna try it, but she's so picky. I can't imagine my cat eating it. Like that's
My
great.
cats pretty much eat anything, so at least my one cat does. So
But just like pumpkins in general, like I didn't know. I'm not a big. Don't attack me. I'm not a big pumpkin person. Like I don't like pumpkin, but I didn't know they had so many benefits. So now I'm like, I need to get on that. I should try something.
yeah, I gotta make some pumpkin. What are you doing, Caitlin? Now I really like I want to make like a fall squash like pumpkin soup. Like that sounds like it would hit the spot right now, you know?
Yeah, it's the
I love
season for it, definitely.
Yeah, there are many easy recipes out there, and I know that I've tried a creamy pumpkin soup, and they're so good. It's just like heartwarming. It's something so nice, especially for the season. And if you like it, because I don't know if many people like it, but you could actually make it, you don't have to make it a savory soup. You can make it like a sweet soup, just like, or like a sweet, almost applesauce. Like I said earlier, you just have some cinnamon with it, some nuts, or like something sweet, and it's just nice and cozy. And you're getting a lot of benefits, so you don't have to feel guilty about it.
I like that idea. A sweeter soup. I should try it. I should try at least one soup this fall because they are so easy to make.
Then it should be pumpkin soup.
A big pumpkin soup. Yeah, I love all my squashes. Wait, is pumpkin actually considered a squash?
It is. In fact, what's funny, in Whole Foods, I saw there was like this big tub of pumpkins, and it just, I don't know why, it just, they like on it was written pumpkin pie squash. Like you could have just called it a pumpkin, like pumpkin pie squash. Cool.
Yeah, that's a funny way to put it.
But anyway, earlier I mentioned, what do you think of fall like, what do you think when you hear the words fall superfoods? Now, there are many different fall superfoods other than vegetables and other than things that just taste bitter and like dry or leave you bloated because they have a lot of fiber. But they're really easy to make, and you could do things that make them taste really good. I mentioned this earlier, but I said like pumpkin spice, the mixes and everything. Another fall superfood, almost like a super spice. Well, there are two super spices: cinnamon, and you could add that to almost anything. Like
I love
even
cinnamon.
yeah, it's really
I-
good and it's really healthy.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, like it boosts metabolism, antioxidant rich as well. It like helps your body absorb nutrients really good and makes things taste good. And second one for this time especially, having rosemary. Dried rosemary, normal rosemary is fine. And you could add it to like cooking, baking, add it to a few sprigs if you're baking something, or if you're cooking like meat, or whether it's tofu or even like eggs. If you add a little bit, it smells really nice, and it also gives that extra boost of nutrients, and it's also antimicrobial, so if you have any bacterial infections, it helps fight it a lot. Then next, a lot of people don't think of this as a superfood, but now, especially now, it's really like it's in the harvest season. Apples have a lot of pectin, which is something that regulates our body's immunity as well, but also helps flush our body of any toxins. Not only that, but it's packed with nutrients and vitamins. So yeah, eat more apples. Make applesauce. Make pumpkin puree and make applesauce. Like, don't be afraid to do both, and add cinnamon to it.
Oh my god, that sounds like a wild day of cooking. But honestly, I love applesauce, so I'm down for that.
I would personally, just a personal suggestion, I recommend apples from farms or apples that are organic. So therefore, like, or even if you get non-organic apples, maybe just wash them, because I know often they're sprayed with like pesticides, and many people do have allergies or intolerances to these pesticides. So just be careful with that, because I know around like we have so many apple farms, and especially like here, like in New Jersey or closer to New York, and like I recommend another fun activity, especially now, go apple picking. Just try it out once. It's so fun, and it's really nice, like, and especially with this weather and the colors and the leaves, it's awesome.
I used to go apple picking a lot when I was a kid, but now not as much. But honestly, I miss it and I want to go again.
Oh, I recommend completely. It's so nice. It takes you back even to those childhood memories and like the simplicity of it, picking apples.
For
But
sure. It's so awesome. I don't know. I love apple picking vibes.
and last two superfoods I just want to mention very quick, that are great for the fall time, and even you could think about for any Thanksgiving recipes that you're going to make soon in a few weeks. Number one, cranberries. A lot of people forget about these, but they're also really healthy, and they're also nutrient rich, and you could make them into like a little sauce. They're bitter, so you have to add something sweet to them, but you could even cook them with like vegetables, and you can make it like a cool combination. It could be a little sour, but it tastes really good, and it's awesome. Even drinking cranberry juice itself, but not from concentrate, fresh cranberry juice, could really like give you that extra boost of nutrients you need. And the second thing that I probably recommend, because I really like these nuts, pecans. Pecans around now, like, they're really nice. You could roast them on a pan, and you could add them in almost anything, like on salads. You could add them when you're baking things. You could add them to even like smoothies, like just like instead of like sprinkles. And they're really full of like essential fatty acids that are really good for the brain, and many nutrients as well. So why not?
That's funny that you say like recipes for like Thanksgiving with pecans, because my family every year we make sweet mashed potatoes, and they're like very sweet, and we add pecans to them. So it's like, I don't know why, it just tastes like amazing together. I can't explain it. It's just it's like dessert basically, but it's like there's pecans in it, so it's like kind of crunchy. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Interesting.
No, that
I've never
sounds
heard of
really
that.
good.
It's really good. I should probably find the recipe and send it to you guys because honestly, it's so good.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, sweet potatoes too. They're like really full in antioxidants. Like if you would, potatoes are good, but like if you want to boost, use sweet potatoes. Especially now. Like now's the best time. Like especially for the fall season.
I didn't know sweet potatoes had like benefits, but maybe that sounds really silly. But like, I don't know. I just thought they were like a bad starch or something. But it's good to know that they have
Really?
an upside to them. You know.
I didn't know what the exact benefits were, but I always knew that the sweet potatoes are technically healthier than regular potatoes. But that's like
didn't
the
know
extent of
that.
my knowledge.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
thing is that they're more nutrient rich. That's why they would be considered healthier.
Oh.
Okay, that makes sense. See, Issa, you always have great tips for us every single week. We love having you on. I always learn something new.
Learn something. Thank you for
Exactly.
teaching me. I could just Google these things, but I'd rather have you.
Oh, sure. I'm
Exactly.
going to be your personal Google then for health and wellness.
No food Google.
For health and wellness.
Thank you
Amazing.
so much, Issa. We'll see you next week. Hopefully more food tips because I'm gonna need them.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Anytime. Remember, stay awesome and stay healthy.
I will try to stay awesome. It's be awesome to begin with though.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, wow.
Wow.
What an informative show.
I didn't know that pumpkins were so good for you. I'm gonna force myself to like pumpkin.
Maybe it's just like that whole media thing where it's just like pumpkin spice this, like pumpkin spice Cheerios, pumpkin spice Pop-Tarts, pumpkin spice.
It's always
drink.
sugary things. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
it's always like super sugary, super terrible for you. I mean, they taste great, but it's like you don't think, like seeing pumpkin in that context, you don't think like, oh wait, this might actually be healthy for me and it might taste good at the same
Yeah.
time. So I love that.
Exactly. I want to make like a pumpkin bread, like banana bread, but pumpkin.
I've made it before. It's good. Not from
Really?
scratch, but it's good.
Okay.
Definitely,
Interesting.
you should try it from scratch because I haven't. It's good from a box, but it's probably not as like healthy, I would say, if I'd say.
Good point. Good point. I'm gonna try that and I'm gonna send you pictures and we'll see what happens. Like virtual taste testing.
Taste this thing. You like on FaceTime, like, here's a bite. And I'm like, wow, so good.
Amazing.
Amazing. Yeah, we love COVID keeping everyone apart. It's great. But hey, let's just stay healthy. You know, we could be even
Exactly.
healthier with the superfoods.
And yeah, just being the spirit of fall at the same time. Like,
Max. And the fall vibes, fall spirit. Ah, I love fall. But anyways, that's all we've got for you guys today on the Weekend Wake Up. I'm Leslie Gallagher, joined by
Caitlin Aristizábal.
and today you saw Kathy, still can't say her last name, sorry Kathy, Kenny Horn, Issa Winek, and today we did not have Lauren Small on for Sunday self-care, which we probably could have used during election week, but she took the week off, which is a-okay. But anyways,
Which is self-care.
she's taking her self-care day, and she deserves it. But anyways, we will see you next week. Bye!